Morning, everybody. KC here. Glad to be back. Hope you had a good week last week. I did. It was sort of nice not to have to get up early in the morning to write morning news beat. Got a chance to do some jogging, do some reading, and all in all, it was a pretty good week. So I hope you had a good one as well. You know, it's funny though, Michal Sansolo and I always joke that when we're off from Morning Newsbeat or Morning Newsbeat is on hiatus, occasionally we'll read a story online or in the newspaper that'll really get our juices going, right? And it's kind of frustrating not to have a soapbox on which to get up and talk about our opinion on a particular story. Although to be honest, it's probably good not to have a soapbox every once in a while. One of the things about last week was while I was reading a lot of coronavirus stories, I wasn't writing a lot of coronavirus stories. And listen, I've been doing these coronavirus stories since, late February, early March. And it can be a little wearing. Although, let's be clear, there are people for whom the coronavirus has not been wearing. It has been devastating. Either they've had it, members of their family have had it, members of their families have lost their lives because of the coronavirus. So the fact that I get a little worn up by writing these stories is not such a big deal. But it was interesting because when I left, it was like, early July. But coming back, it feels like it's late March, early April. Because in the vast majority of the country, the numbers are going up. Death rate even in some places is going up. Now, look, we're lucky, right? In the place where I live, I'm in Connecticut, New England, New York, the numbers are not going up. But in the vast majority of the country, they are. And what worries me about this is that people are starting to get complacent. I was reading a story this week where a retailer said, we just don't think that we can require our customers to wear a mask. And I think that's a complete and utter mistake. And by the way, I was saying that back in early April. You can't ask your customers to wear a mask. You can require them to wear a mask. And in fact, that's the responsible thing to do. It's the responsible thing to do for your employees, and it's the responsible thing to do for your other customers. And listen, I think a lot of retailers have a lot of equity they can spend right now. Some of them have had the best quarters of their lives. And if the virus continues to be a problem, they're going to continue to have good quarters. Spend a little of that equity. Be on the right side of this story. It would be a shame at the end of all this, when there's either herd immunity or there's a vaccine, if retailers look back and said, we could have done more, but we didn't. It's incredibly important right now. Do all the things that are necessary, and that starts with wearing a mask to make sure that the people in your store are as safe as you could possibly make them. Listen, there are still going to be outbreaks. There are still going to be spikes. Even when you do all the right things or all the things that you think are the right things, there are going to be problems. There are going to be mistakes. But I think it's really important, for history and for the way businesses are viewed by most of their customers, do the right thing. Listen, I live in a household with 2 teachers, and we're worried about school in the fall. I'll have more to say about that in the coming weeks and I'm sure months, in terms of how some of the educational institutions are dealing with this stuff. But right now, food retailers continue to be on the front lines, and I think it's incredibly important to respond in the right way. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this morning. I am glad to be back, and as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.